Greetings, Iain from RTO here. Welcome to another album ranking. Today is part 5 of the Rick Wakeman story, and we have reached the 2010s, but he didn't release so many in the 2020, so I'm going to do 2010 to 2022. And in that period he released 9 albums. So here we go. Coming in at number 9 we have Hero, the official film of the 1986 FIFA World Cup, released in 2020, and it's narrated by Sir Michael Caine. This album, there's not much music on it, it's more narration than music. There's the odd little bits. The tracks on here are just called Maradona, Maradona Strikes Again, England nil, Maradona 2, Bring on Barnsley, Viva Argentina, No Defence, 1-0 to Argentina, 2-0 to Argentina, one called Untitled, Argentina versus Germany, half-time score 2-1, it's a draw for now, the final push. And the only bit that really is musical is the final theme. Stephanie Lawrence does the vocals. It's alright. It's nothing special. Preparations for the final number 1. Preparations to the final number 2. Start of extra time. End of extra time. End of penalty. Graziani off the field. Half time. Give me goal. Italy goal theme. Spanish montage, end title, celebrations, dreaming, Italian goal A, Gratazan's injury, untitled, and half time. This is not definitely, as I said, there's not much music on it. There's lots of radio pictures from the radio commentary narration. I don't know why this goes down as a Rick Wakeman soundtrack, because there's not much of Rick on it. But it's quite a good little album if you remember you do football. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 3 out of 10. Because how it's put together is very clever. And Michael Caine is a brilliant narrator, so hence why it's got 3 out of 10. Coming in at number 8, we have an album from 2010, and it's called Always With You. This is just some classical music arranged by Rick, and it's just him on the piano. So the first one he does is Ave Maria. I love this piece of music. He does a great version of it, there's no doubt about it. Glory, okay, don't forget, I didn't mention them. Ave Maria is by Franz Schubert, of course. Then we get Glory by Handel. More, it's really nice, nothing wrong with it. Then we get the Piano Messiah, another Handel piece. It's very nice. Then we get the Granary Canon. We get Granary Canon by Pachelbel. All I remember this bit of music is it did the adverts for Pure Wool in the UK in the 1970s. Beautiful Saviour. I sometimes wonder, I mean, Rick Wakeman has got huge hands, and how does he play such angelic stuff with them big clumpy hands? Then we get a bit of Bach, Jesu, Joy of Man's Desiring. I love this piece of music. The times I've been to gigs and everyone plays this. I've heard John Lord do it. I've heard Don Airey do it. Who else have I heard play this? It's just everyone, when they get a keyboard solo, this always pops up somewhere in it. It's a nice piece of music. It's my favourite piece on here. Then we get My Redeemer, another Handel piece, another classic piece of music. Moods of Mourning. This is a bit of Grieg. I love Mourning by Grieg. Lovely piece of music. Then we get this original bit by Rick. It's very nice. Then we get Kumbaya. Yeah, we've all know about Kumbaya, singing around that. It was in the Scouts, all the guys. I'm sure you all sang it at some stage. Gone but not forgotten. Another nice original piece, really good. And then he does a version of Stairway to Heaven, and it's very good. Very pleasant album, mixture of classical and some pop songs. Not a bad little album, really. It's nice relaxation stuff, and I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, then coming in at number 7, I've got an album released in 2019, and it's called Christmas Portraits. This was a third of album that he done. Piano Portraits, Piano Odyssey, and Christmas Portraits. Basically, this is just some Christmas carols. The First Noel in Bleak Midwinter, Deck the Halls, Holly and the Ivy, Silent Night, which is lovely on here, God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, Angels of Realms of Glory, O Come Ye, O Faithful, Hark the Herald Angels Sing, See Amid the Winter Snow, O Little Town of Bethlehem, I Saw Three Ships, When a Child is Born, O Holy Night, the Coventry Carol, O Come Emmanuel, A Winter's Tale, written by Mike Batt and Tim Rice, of course, We Three Kings, Sussex Carol That Came Upon the Clear Night. Yeah, play this at Christmas, and you'll hear more about this at Christmas. I like this album, actually. It's very gets you in the Christmassy mood, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.6. Okay, coming in at number 6 is from 2017. Now, he did this thing back in, I think, the 70s or 80s, called Phantom Power. Very short album. Now, this is a double CD of called Phantom of the Opera. Basically, this is, again, it's like the remix for the silent movie they brought out. It's just split into two parts here. Part 1 is 41 minutes and 8 seconds. Part 2 is 41 and 52. On here, we've got Ramon Ramaldis, who does tenor vocals, Ashley Holt does vocals, Chrissy Hammond vocals, all the people that he's worked with before, Lizelle Martin on guitars, and the ever-present Tony Fernandez on the drums. This is very similar, as I said, to the Power, a bit longer. It's quite a nice album. It's got some quirky keyboards, but it's not a bad listen, but it's something that I don't own. I've listened to it a couple of times, and what I did hear of it, I was pretty impressed with it, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 5, an album from 2018. This is Piano Odyssey, which is the second part of this little trio of piano albums. It's got Rick Wakeman on here, the English Chamber Choir, and Brian May does some guitar on a certain Queen track. First track on here is a great version of While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Like this, the strings and the piano work well together on that. Then we get Lieberstrom and After the Ball. Again, both these songs really sound good with the strings. Once again, Rick is so good at interpreting classical pieces of music. Then we get a lovely version of And You and I. That's what I mean. It's a wonderful version of it. It's just done on the piano, and it's a great tune anyway. It's one of my favourite tracks by Yes, and he does a fantastic version. Then we get Rocky, The Legacy, all written about our Rocky. Very nice piece of music. Then we get The Boxer, one of my favourite Simon and Garfunkel songs. They've got some strings on this and the piano. It is a wonderful version. It's a lovely tune anyway. Then we get a David Bowie song, Wild Eyed Boy from Cree Cloud. Of course, Rick played on a few of David's tracks, so why not do a tribute to David? It's a really good version of it. And then Strawberry Fields Forever, one of my favourite versions of this song. Really nice. Then we have another Yes track, a version of Roundabout. Very quirky, some choral on this, it's a bit funky, very good. Then we get Cyril Wolverine, a moody piece, I like that. Then a piano version of Jane Seymour, one of my favourite pieces of music from the Wives of Henry VIII, just an unplugged version. And we get Lagos, nice piece of classical music that I like. Then we get Bohemian Rhapsody. Brian May plays the acoustic guitar on. I like this version, and it's my favourite piece on this album. It's very dramatic, you get the choral stuff, it's a wonderful interpretation of it, and it's my favourite track on the album. This is one of my favourite piano albums by Rick Wakeman, full stop. I love playing this, it's got some really nice interpretations. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. So coming in at number 4, this is from 2017, this is Piano Portraits. Again, another nice piano album. Again, it's got a mixture of rock and pop and classical. So first one on this is a piano version of Help, the Beatles of course. I love this version again, turning a pop song and turning it into a classical piece of music. So then he does a Stairway to Heaven again, we've mentioned that, so that's pretty good. And then he does Life on Mars. Now of course this is my favourite bit on this album. Of course Rick played on the original, and I love this version. And it's great because you pick out all the piano. If you listen to Life on Mars after you've listened to this version, you can pick out Rick's bits fantastically. It's a fantastic version. Then we get a great version of the 10cc song I'm Not in Love. Fantastic. Then we get Wondrous Stories, a fantastic version, strip the song down to its bare knuckles of nothing, and it's brilliant. Then we get Because, the 4A number, another of those magical classical pieces of music. Now, then we get Amazing Grace. Now, this is lovely. Now, here's a story about Amazing Grace. I'm no musician, but there are two things I can play on the piano. One is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and the other is this. And I taught myself to play this on the piano because I had a stylophone and it was all done via the stylophone, and I worked out, and I love this piece of music, and it's something that I can play. So there you go. That's the only thing I can play on a musical instrument is Amazing Grace. Then we get Swan Light from Tchaikovsky. Loved Swan Lake, brilliant. Then we get Morning Has Broken, a lovely piece of music. And then we get Summertime, George Gershwin. Finest version of that I've heard. You know, the best vocal version is Annie Lennox, the best instrumental is Rick's. And then he does another David Bowie track, he does Space Oddity. Of course, Rick played the mellotron on the original, and he plays the piano on this. And it does feature David Bowie on this, on the 12-string acoustic guitar. Herbie Flowers plays the bass on this album as well, so it's got some really thing. Tony Visconti's on here, all sorts of people. Rick Wakeman does play the mellotron as well, so there we go, it's all on there. Fantastic version. Then we get Dance of the Damsel Flies, which is a little piece that Rick wrote himself. It's one of the little quirky things that he does. Another great version of Clair de Lune from Debussy, one of my favourite pieces of music by Debussy. Then we get I Vow to Thee, My Country. Just love that. Very nice. Then we get Eleanor Rigby, another upbeat piano version. This is my favourite Rick Wakeman piano album ever. It's a fabulous album. I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 8.8. Coming in at number 3 then, we're going to 2016 now, and a revamp of the myths and legends of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. This was released exclusively via Pledge Music campaign. We got Rick Wakeman on the keyboard scores, Ashley Holt on vocals, Hayley Sanderson vocals, Tony Fernandez as ever on the percussion and drums, Matt Pegg on bass, Dave Colquhoun on guitars and banjo, Ian Lavender doing the narration, the Orion Orchestra, English Chamber Choir, the Nottingham Festival Male Choir. Got John Parry, Bob Hunter on bass, Freddie Williams on tenor vocals, Eric Gethin tenor, Val Williams baritone, Alan Grant on baritone, Kerry Wilson and Michael Pern on tenor. Basically it's just a remake of this, and we got the Choice of the King, King Arthur, Morgan Le Fay, Lady of the Lake, Arthur's Queen, Guinevere, Lancelot and the Black Knight, Princess Elaine, Camelot, the King of the Merlins, A Wizard of Potion, Merlin and the Magician, the Chalice, the Holy Grail, the Best Knight, the Contests of Galahad, Percival the Knight, Excalibur and the Last Battle. Okay, they've cleaned it up. I don't own this. I've heard it on Spotify, and I think it's really done good. It's, you know, it's cleaned it up a little bit, and I love this album anyway. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Coming in at number 2 then, from 2012, it's the Journey to the Centre of the Earth extended studio recording, initially packaged as a limited edition fan pack together with a souvenir magazine. On here it's literally the same people that did the King Arthur, but we've got Lee Pomeroy on the bass now. It uses bits from the original, Danny Beckerman's original orchestrations, the chamber choir, and then the narrator this time is Peter Egan. So it's just the basic story that we got: the preface, the journey overture, Journey's Dawn, Crystals, the Gothic Cathedral, A Quest for Water, the Hands Back, Fervent Prayer, the Recollection Prayers, Lost and Found Echoes, the Battle, which is absolutely epic, Cumulus Clouds, the Storm, the Cemetery, the Quaternary Man, Mastodons, then you get the Forest, then you get a little bit of the Hall of the Mountain King and Mount Etna. Now I'm really glad that Rick did this again. Do I think this is better than the original? It's on level par. It's still a great piece of music. Okay, they've enhanced it and made it more definitive, and I've got no problem with that. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.5. So my favourite album from this period of Rick's career was actually released in 2020, and it's called The Red Planet, and it features Rick Wakeman on the keyboards, Dave Colquhoun on the guitars, Lee Pomeroy on bass, and Ash Sohn on the drums. First track on here is called Serious Mons. My favourite track. I love the church organs on the start of this. Sounds dramatic, some lovely brass in it. It's such a great opener to the album. Then we get Tharius Volusus. It's a gentle sort of track with some lovely keyboard swirls from Rick. Very good. Aracia Mon. It's taken all them earlier elements from earlier pieces and just modernised them with modern technology. It's a fantastic piece of music. Really like that one. Then we get Olympus Mons. Love the bass line from Lee Pomeroy on this. It drives the song. Then you get this harpsichord sounding keyboard that really adds to the track. Then we get the North playing, really heavy here. Some Hammond organ that just sort of enriches this. The drumming is really good on here. Some great guitar work from Dave Colquhoun. Good track. Pavenius Mons. This reminds me of some of the Sky stuff off that very first Sky album. It's really good. Fantastic track. The drumming is great. The keyboards just sound fantastic. South Pole. Now this is really gentle. Very lot of piano in this. It's just a very relaxing piece of music. And then Valles Marinis. This is the last track, and this is just a modern day progressive rock track brought right up to date. One of my favourite pieces of music on here. It's got all the elements of classic 70s prog, but just done it in 2020. Fantastic piece. It's a great way to end the album. I think this is definitely one of the best albums he's done since probably Return to the Journey to the Centre of the Earth, as you know, as an original piece. It is just fantastic. I brought this without hearing. I just saw a new album from Rick Wakeman. I'm going to get it, and I was not disappointed. I just ordered it, and I think it is as good as any of his 70s stuff. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.6. So there we go. Next week's the last part. No, it's not. We've got 2 more parts. Next week we're going to look at the albums that he did with his son, Adam. That's interesting. They made some interesting albums. So that's next week. We're going to look at father and son's albums. I'll be back later with a retro ranking on a great little guitar player, rock and roller, Mr. Dave Edmunds. So join me for that. So bye for now.